Steve Harvey, one of the most recognizable faces on American television, didn't always live a life of fame and fortune. Born in 1957 in Welch, West Virginia, a town nestled in the steep mountains, his early years were shaped by hardship. His father, Steve Harvey, worked as a coal miner, earning just $5 a day. Despite the tough conditions, Jesse taught Steve the value of hard work and perseverance. Meanwhile, his mother, Eloise, was a Sunday school teacher who filled their home with love, gospel music, and prayers. Yet, the world outside their home was filled with struggles, and Steve's biggest challenge was not poverty, but a severe stutter. Despite a mind filled with jokes and dreams, speaking became a painful task, leaving him often silent and vulnerable to teasing. However, this childhood adversity would become the foundation for his future resilience. Battling silence. A stutter and a dream. As a young boy, Steve Harvey faced not only financial struggles, but also an emotional battle. His speech impediment, an intense stutter, was a constant source of humiliation. Despite his quick wit and sharp intellect, Steve could barely get words out. He struggled in school, particularly in situations where he had to speak. But his love for entertainment, specifically television, never wavered. One day, in 6th grade, he wrote a simple but bold dream on a piece of paper. "I want to be on TV." However, instead of being encouraged, Steve was ridiculed by his teacher and classmates. They laughed at his ambition, mocking him for being a poor, stuttering boy from a small town. His teacher's cruel words cut deep, but his father, Jesse, provided a lifeline of hope, encouraging him to never let anyone diminish his dreams. The struggles of adulthood. Despite his father's encouragement, Steve's journey to success was far from straightforward. After moving to Cleveland, Ohio, his stutter faded, but the direction of his life remained uncertain. Steve attempted to attend Kent State University but dropped out. He worked various odd jobs, including stints at a Ford assembly line, selling insurance, and working as a mailman. Yet, despite his magnetic personality, Steve felt lost. He was married, trying to support a family, but struggling with feelings of mediocrity. At the age of 27, Steve found himself trapped in a cycle of unfulfilling jobs, uncertain of how to break free from the path that seemed to lead nowhere. It was then that an unassuming suggestion from a friend changed his life forever. "You should try stand-up comedy." A leap of faith into comedy. In 1985, Steve took the leap into the world of comedy, a decision that would change his life forever. Without any experience in comedy clubs or knowledge of the craft, he stepped onto the stage at Hilarity's Comedy Club in Cleveland. The crowd was initially skeptical, but Steve's natural ability to observe and engage with people allowed him to connect. His jokes, derived from years of silence, resonated with the audience, and the laughter was therapeutic. However, despite winning an amateur night competition, Steve's life did not immediately turn around. He faced years of financial struggles, performing in small clubs for little pay. The pressure mounted as he sacrificed his family life to pursue his dream. Eventually, his marriage collapsed under the strain of his ambition, and Steve was left homeless, living out of his 1976 Ford Tempo. The road to homelessness and resilience. Homelessness did not come suddenly for Steve Harvey. It was a slow unraveling of his life as he pursued his dream of comedy. For 3 years, Steve lived in his car, traveling from gig to gig, eating bologna sandwiches, and taking sponge baths at gas stations. Despite the humiliation of his situation, Steve continued to perform, keeping his struggles hidden behind a facade of success. He had no stable income, but he carried on, refusing to quit. The hardship was excruciating, but it forged a deeper understanding of human nature, which would later become the cornerstone of his comedy. Steve's years in the Ford Tempo were marked by isolation, but they also helped him perfect his craft, turning pain into power on stage. It was during this time that he learned the value of perseverance and resilience, never losing sight of his dream despite the hardships. Breaking through. The Steve Harvey Show. By 1996, Steve Harvey was no longer just a comedian. He had become a household name. The WB network took a chance on him, offering him a starring role in The Steve Harvey Show. The show, centered on Steve playing a high school music teacher, was a hit. It resonated with millions, particularly in African American households, where it became a cultural touchstone. For 6 seasons, Steve entertained viewers with his unique blend of humor, wisdom, and relatability. As his star power grew, so did his influence in the entertainment industry. The show was a platform for Steve to reach a wider audience, but it also represented a significant shift in how he was perceived. He had gone from a struggling comic to a mainstream television personality, cementing his place in Hollywood. The Kings of Comedy, a groundbreaking tour. In 1997, Steve Harvey took on a bold and ambitious project, a comedy tour with 3 other comedy legends, D.L. Hewley, Cedric the Entertainer, and Bernie Mac. The Kings of Comedy tour was a groundbreaking venture, breaking away from traditional comedy club performances and taking the comedy world into arenas. Promoters were skeptical, doubting that comedy could fill a basketball arena, but Steve and his partners proved them wrong, and the tour became a massive success. It grossed more than any other comedy tour in history, blending comedy with an atmosphere that felt like a celebration. Steve, known for his sharp suits and commanding stage presence, became the centerpiece of the show, and the success of the tour solidified his status as one of the top comedians in the country. The rise to legendary status. With the success of the Kings of Comedy tour, Steve Harvey's reputation in the entertainment industry reached new heights. The tour was not just about jokes, it was a cultural event that celebrated the experiences of African Americans, resonating deeply with audiences. Steve's signature style, filled with humor and wisdom, became a powerful voice in comedy. He had transformed his painful past into material that connected with people on a deep emotional level. For years, the tour traveled across the country, filling arenas and making Steve a household name. In addition to his success on the stage, he began hosting Family Feud, where his quick wit and charm made him a fan favorite. As his career flourished, Steve never forgot the hard lessons of his past. A new challenge: reinventing himself. By the early 2000s, Steve Harvey was wealthy, famous, and respected. But as the landscape of comedy and television began to shift, Steve found himself facing new challenges. His sitcom, The Steve Harvey Show, ended in 2002, and the comedy tour came to a close. Steve realized that in Hollywood, success was never guaranteed, and he had to reinvent himself to stay relevant. The industry was changing, and Steve, known for his urban comedy, was now facing the pressure to appeal to a broader audience. Despite his success, Steve knew that in the entertainment world, you had to keep evolving or risk becoming irrelevant. His next move would be crucial in shaping the next phase of his career: building a legacy beyond comedy. In the years that followed, Steve Harvey continued to adapt. Taking on new challenges and expanding his influence, he became a best-selling author with books like Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man resonating with readers around the world. His rise to prominence as a motivational speaker and life coach allowed him to reach even more people, offering advice on everything from relationships to personal success. Steve's ability to reinvent himself has been key to his longevity in the entertainment industry. While comedy remained at the heart of his career, he became a multifaceted personality, building a legacy that went beyond laughter. Today, Steve Harvey is not just a comedian. He's a cultural icon, a business mogul, and a motivational force. His journey from homelessness to success is a testament to his resilience and determination to never give up on his dreams.